Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk about a phenomenon in gaming that's been flying under the radar but has been silently ruining competitive matches for basically everyone. It's something I like to call the Crosshair Shift Effect. Have you ever felt like your aim was just slightly off, even though you're confident in your mechanics? It's not your imagination. There are several in-game and system triggers that can shift your crosshair alignment without you even realizing it. This issue affects gaming on all platforms, including mobile, PC, and console. While these are small adjustments that might not significantly affect casual players, highly skilled players will especially notice the difference. These shifts can be triggered by things like the pop-up indicator when picking up items, opening your inventory, or toggling the pause menu. There are plenty more triggers that can cause these shifts. Pause here to show a list on screen with additional triggers. Now, let's break down why this is such a big deal. Imagine you're in a high-stakes moment, like the final circle in a battle royale or a clutch situation in a tactical shooter. You line up your shot, but something feels off. That micro shift in your crosshair position throws off your muscle memory. Your brain is telling your hand to aim based on what feels right, but the crosshair isn't where you expect it to be. This creates a mismatch between your perception and the actual mechanics, causing you to miss shots you'd normally hit. While these shifts aren't directly tied to traditional input lag, they technically increase it. Here's why: when your crosshair is desynced, it takes extra time to adjust your aim to the target. Even fractions of a second matter in competitive play, and that delay can be the difference between winning and losing an engagement. Think about how fast things happen in games like CS, Go, Fortnite, or Apex Legends. A fraction of a second can determine if you get the headshot or if you're the one getting eliminated. It's even worse on PC because practically every setting on your computer can affect your aim. Every little checkbox in Windows, whether it's related to performance, display settings, or background processes, can create micro-changes in how your aim feels. Things like background updates, fluctuating system resources, or even subtle driver updates can cause inconsistencies. It's like trying to hit a moving target when you don't even realize the target is moving. Let's not forget drivers. Graphics drivers, input device drivers, even network drivers, all of these can have an impact. A slight update or a setting tweak can alter how your mouse or keyboard communicates with the game. This isn't something most players think about, but it adds another layer of complexity. You might not notice the change immediately, but over time, it can erode your consistency. And here's the kicker: there's no real way to achieve perfect 1:1 aiming harmony. No matter how much you tweak your settings, there will always be variables outside your control. This realization can be frustrating, especially for competitive players who rely on precision. But understanding that these factors exist is the first step to mitigating their impact. Hopefully, in the future, advancements in AI can help identify and solve these micro problems that are quietly ruining competitive play. Imagine AI algorithms that can detect aim desynchronization in real time and adjust accordingly. That's the dream. Until then, being aware of these triggers is the first step toward minimizing their impact. So, let's show some examples so that you can get a deeper understanding of what's happening here. I'll show an example with Warzone Mobile, but this applies to every game. The individual triggers for each game may vary, but most games share some of the main triggers that affect aim synchronization. For example, pressing the start menu pretty much affects all games. In this example, I will show what my aim looks like when it's in sync. Notice how sharp and fluid I'm able to move my crosshair. Now we will trigger aim desynchronization by walking past this item pickup. Even though we have simply walked by, our aim is now in desync. It may be difficult to see to the untrained eye, but you can tell my aim now has taken a hit and is a bit wobbly. We will stay in this desynced state of aim until we trigger a resynchronization by doing one of the actions I talked about earlier. Like walking past it again. You can think of it like this: 1 and 0. 0 being a perfect balance of harmony where your aim is in sync. One being an aim desync phase where our aim suffers. As we play, we are inadvertently switching back and forth between these two modes without even knowing it. At any given time we can engage a player and it is a 50-50 of what our last sync action was. Like rolling the dice every time you go into aim down sight mode, whether you'll have consistent aim or not. And this is really best case scenario because if you've triggered other desyncs while playing, that could mean you have a 1 in 4 chance in having synced aim. But this is around where it stops with my testing. It's so hard to even explain the complexity of this effect, but if you are a competitive player and you pay close attention to the triggers Eve mentioned while playing, you will see what I am talking about. This explains how you can outgun a player effortlessly sometimes, but when once you respawn again and you encounter the same player you feel helpless. I believe these uncontrollable inconsistencies in competitive play is why a lot of people never make it to becoming pro along with other factors. This is part of the reason why a lot of pros quit or go into a phase where they have plateaued in their skill. They may pop off but they are not 100% consistent. A lot of them will switch to another game because they can't get any better. There are a lot of things affecting our aim than we think, and I hope more advancements in these areas of gaming are invented so competitive play can feel more competitive and less RNG. Let's look at what a gunfight while we are in desync looks like. Here the enemy comes around the corner and we engage. There are subtle cues that if you pay attention you can tell that we are in desync. If you look carefully at our iron sights, they look relaxed. When we go to aim in, the gun model appears to look and also move slightly differently. It has a sluggish effect. We are actively having to strafe left and right to break the aim assist barrier to hit the shots on our enemy. It's almost as if we are only hitting the outside edges of his character model. We are fighting against the aim assist. This is what we call potato aim. Let's show again the close-up comparison because I want to make sure everyone can see it. When we are in sync, our aim looks a little more perky. When we go to aim down sight, the movement is noticeably smoother. Like we have a little bit more of a refined control on our aim. This small amount of precision is super important. Another strange thing about all this is, that since every player in the lobby is dealing with this same desync, we can have a number of scenarios where it can have a deciding factor on whether or not you win or lose the gunfight. In every fight there are 3 possibilities: desynced versus desynced, synced versus desynced, and synced versus synced. The best fights happen when both of your respective aims are in sync. That's when your true skill and talent shows. Fights where one player's aim is synced and the other's isn't are completely unfair. Sometimes you can overcome this and still get the kill, but it makes it harder, especially when playing against a skilled player. These are the kind of fights where you want to rage cause you know you could, or should have gotten that guy. If developers are somehow able to fix this, it will increase the skill gap, making gameplay more competitive, more fun, and ultimately more enjoyable. The other thing to note is that this doesn't only affect aim, it technically affects movement as well. When you are in sync, your aim and movements are in perfect harmony. As you can probably tell, the player's speed and fluidity is actually increased a lot by being in a sync state. Watch as I completely obliterate this guy with a pistol, not missing a single bullet in my synced state. Another thing I noticed that happens is that my slides have sort of an extended animation. This explains why you may run into a player who is seemingly flying by you at breakneck speed, slide canceling and bunny hopping, pressing YY, and it seems like you, on the other hand, have your feet and hands stuck in mud trying to keep up with him. This is why I personally have stopped playing as much FPS games once I figured this whole desync thing out. But that's just me. It is such a shame because I love multiplayer shooters, but it can be so frustrating and stressful when you want to compete at the highest level. I know many players will agree. I'm actually surprised I was able to notice such a small thing and be able to communicate it to you guys. I'm really thankful for that. Hopefully one day someone will come up with a fix for all this and improve gaming across the board for everyone. I'm not a developer or anything, just an experienced gamer with thousands of hours played, so I'm sure someone out there might be able to explain all this even better than me. Okay, so recap. Today we've learned about what aim desync is and how it affects how you play. Have you experienced anything like this? Next time you hop on, try to see if you can notice it. A huge thank you to everyone who made it this far in the video. It means a lot. Show some love because I have been through gaming hell and back trying to figure out these secrets. Until next time, thank you for watching.
You have reinforcements inbound.